Welcome to the downfall of the Far Cry franchise.
Joseph C. I have a warrant issued for your arrest on the suspicion of kidnapping with the intent to harm. Now, I want you to step forward and keep your hands where I can see them.
There they are, the locusts in our garden. See, they've come for me. They've come to take me away from you. They've come to destroy all that we've built.
Do not touch that service! Hold on and don't stand down! Stand down! Everyone calm down!
We knew this moment would come. We've prepared for it. Go. Go. God will not let them take me.
I saw when the Lamb opened the first seal, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts say, "Come and see."
Step forward.
And I saw. And behold, it was a white horse. And hell followed with him.
Rookie, cuff this son of a bitch.
The Far Cry franchise, known for its immersive open-world environments and captivating narratives, has long been hailed as a benchmark in the first-person shooter genre. It's captivated players with intense gameplay and compelling narratives. However, in recent years, the franchise has faced considerable criticism and largely disappointment among its fanbase. It has faced a decline in both critical acclaim and player satisfaction. This essay that I'm going into aims to explore the factors contributing to the downfall of the Far Cry franchise, shedding light on the series' diminishing quality and missed opportunities that have left the fans disappointed.
Jumping out of airplanes, flying like birds. What do we have here? Grant and Jason.
Welcome to Omanaki Village.
From California, huh? Because you two white boys, you look very expensive. You're my bitch. I rule this fucking kingdom. Shut the fuck up, or you die.
But the definition of insanity
Is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy. We'll give you that, eh?
One of the primary reasons for the decline of the Far Cry franchise is its failure to innovate and evolve with each new installment. Ubisoft seems hesitant to take risks and experiment with fresh ideas. Instead, it has led to the series falling into a repetitive cycle, recycling familiar gameplay mechanics, storylines, and character archetypes. While the earlier games, such as Far Cry 3 and 4 and 5, brought fresh experiences to the table, subsequent releases have struggled to offer meaningful advancements on the original formula. The franchise seems trapped in a repetitive cycle, leading to a lack of excitement and a sense of fatigue. Ubisoft diminished the sense of excitement and anticipation that once surrounded this great franchise. Ubisoft's obsession with open world design, while initially celebrated, eventually also played its part in the downfall of Far Cry. The sprawling landscapes, while visually stunning, often fall empty and devoid of meaningful content. The excessive use of collectibles, repetitive side missions, and an overwhelming map size has diluted the overall experience. And what has ultimately happened is that the open worlds that Ubisoft is creating have lost a sense of purpose, and they failed to provide players with a cohesive and engaging gameplay loop. And this is something I myself have cried about several times. If you've been watching me stream over the years, over and over, I always mockingly take a jab at Ubisoft. Although, while playful, that jab is always with regards to especially how empty their open worlds. And I always say this anytime I come across a game which just has an open world filled with loads of collectibles, filled with loads of space, but there's just absolutely nothing in it. That is now the quintessential Ubisoft formula, unfortunately. Far Cry 3's captivating story and charismatic villain, Vas Montenegro, set a high bar for future entries. However, subsequent games failed to deliver similarly compelling narratives. The villains became caricatures, lacking depth and complexity, resulting in a loss of the franchise's iconic antagonistic presence. The once memorable storytelling was replaced by uninspired plots and underdeveloped characters, leading further to a disengaged player base. The franchise has seen numerous releases in a relatively short span of time, leading to what I would call oversaturation. The McDonald's /ification of something. Essentially, mass producing something to where it becomes, bland. It becomes just like a formula. It doesn't become anything unique. So every single project ends up just feeling like a repetition of the previous. The annual or biannual release cycle put a strain on development teams, and I would imagine that also played a part in what resulted in rushed and unfinished games. And I feel like this lack of adequate development and time and polish would have adversely affected the overall quality of the franchise. Because now with each release, there's more technical issues, more lackluster gameplay mechanics, and more of a lack of depth within the game world, ultimately leading to a loss of trust in the series. The lack of attention to detail and quality control has just led to a sense of frustration and disappointment, I would say, among fans of the game, but also just among general gamers. Now, my final and I feel biggest point within this essay, which is something I've already touched upon before, is the formulaic nature that has come to Far Cry, where the game is now following a predictable pattern of liberating outposts, hunting wildlife, and engaging in repetitive side missions. While these elements were once fresh and exciting, their overuse has made them feel tired and uninspired. The franchise's unwillingness to take risks and explore new ideas has left players craving for innovation and surprises, something which Far Cry was known for as a franchise. And without a willingness to break away from the established formula, the Far Cry series has struggled to stay relevant in an ever-evolving gaming landscape. And I will rephrase that a little bit, because they still sell millions and millions of copies of this every single time it releases. But there's just been a sense of it's starting to feel a lot like the position that FIFA found themselves in, the position that NBA found themselves in, where people aren't buying the game because they truly love it. They're just buying it because it's become a thing and they enjoy the initial idea. So with NBA, you have people who love the sport of basketball. They're gonna play NBA whether it's good or bad. Likewise with FIFA, you have people who love the sport of football. They're gonna play FIFA whether it's good or bad. And so Far Cry still falls in this middle ground of first-person shooter storytelling that's become a little bit lackluster, but people are still gonna buy it because there's no real competition out there in the market that releases as consistently as them. So you will get a good competitor once every 3-4 years, but Far Cry is being constantly released, so that cycle where it becomes constantly in your face, like McDonald's, where you're gonna eat McDonald's more frequently than you're gonna go to a 5-star restaurant, even though the 5-star restaurant has better food. So I think personally, to regain its former glory, Ubisoft must embrace innovation. They need to start delivering compelling narratives, refine the gameplay mechanics, and prioritize quality assurance by learning from their mistakes and actively engaging with the player community. Ubisoft has the opportunity to revive the Far Cry franchise and reignite the passion of its fan base. So yeah, just to go over all of this again, as I was mentioning in my last point, I don't think the franchise is dead. I think this franchise can be reimagined, can be reinvented, and I imagine that's also what led to them taking a break after the release of Far Cry 6. They maybe saw the reception of that game and figured, nah, let's wait. You know what, maybe let's leave the next one in the oven a little bit more. Because ultimately, the several factors, including a lack of innovation, stagnant storytelling, rushed releases, formulaic design, and exploitative monetization practices, which I didn't cover too much in this, because we know microtransactions are Ubisoft's bread and butter. I don't really need to bring that one up. But if the franchise can refocus on delivering fresh experiences, going back to those compelling narratives like I was mentioning, bringing back the iconic villains. Even in the recent Far Cry 6, we had an iconic villain in Anton Castillo, but we didn't get to experience much of him. He was just sort of there as like a looming figurehead, but spoiler alert, he's not in the game that much. Basically at the beginning and the end, that's essentially all you see of Anton in the big picture, with just cutscenes here and there in between. But if they go back to those compelling narratives, give us those iconic villains again, and give us meaningful gameplay mechanics which just don't require you going to multiple rebel outposts or climbing several towers over and over again. If they can get to a point where the gameplay mechanics are meaningful enough, then they'd be able to win the fans over again. Because your gameplay mechanics, they can be repetitive. They're allowed to be repetitive. But they have to be repetitive in a way that the player doesn't mind that gameplay loop. So the player subconsciously can push on and keep going. The developers need to take more risks. And again, like I mentioned before, listen to player feedback. Invest in longer development cycles to ensure a polished and captivating game. There's no need to rush this game. And only by addressing these issues, then can Far Cry hope to reclaim its position as a leading force in the first-person shooter storytelling genre. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed, stay dangerous, and peace out.
My true Yarans, I stand before you armed with truth. For too long, our country was stolen by politicians. But you elected a vision, a cure, A road to paradise. El Castillo must be a lion, for Yara is full of lions. Libertad, la moral, murders of 67, these are lies. Yara did not elect me to do what's easy, but to do what's right.
Video essays and stuff, but in the meantime, right now, my monitor, because I'm used to my camera being on my monitor, but I moved the camera.
Stop right there!
It was not. This is your fault. This is nobody's fault, Henry.
If you're really like into some nature shit, on weekends you can always